Hello, this is Harry Payton, the host of the Irvington Now show. Today I have as our guest Ms. Tyra Spates, and we'll talk about an interesting book that she's the author of and how it actually can benefit you, because it talks about some realistic situations. So I and she will be discussing this and giving you details of that. Hi, Ms. Spates, how are you?
How are you?
Great, and thank you very much for being a guest on the show. The first thing I always try to do is give our audience some background on the person that's the guest, because even though sometimes some guests are known to the audience, some are not, most people may not know you. So can you give us an idea of what's going on and some background on yourself?
Well, again, like you stated, my name is Tyra Spates, and I am an author. I recently wrote the book, The Graduation Coach, and I'm also a life coach. And I just help women who are going through tough points in their life just kind of see for themselves what kind of options they have and help them in making those options become reality.
Okay. And I guess, that of course is a much needed situation, not just for women, but for men, because at many times in our lives we'll go through something, and though you love your family, though you love your friends, sometimes they are not the people to direct your life out of that situation. Now, you've written a book entitled The Graduation Coach, Money Does Not Improve Schools, People Do. What's the book about?
Well, the book is about that because we hear a lot of communication about putting money, more money. And while that is a viable solution, we also have to look at the people within the schools.
Yes.
And with the right people working together, we can have change, and we can have effective change. So this book basically shows how you have someone who is understanding what the youth are going through, and then becoming a liaison between the student, the parents, and the school.
Okay. And now you interacted with some students, throughout the, I guess, was it the school system or
High school?
High school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so throughout the high school, and just before, I guess, putting the book together, in November 2006, you mentioned a life-changing event that kind of just put you into the mood to think that this, that the book, a life-changing event. Can you give us some details of that?
Well, that was in essence the time that I was basically given the position. Mm-hmm. And the position was the graduation coach, which is the title of the book. It was life-changing because it was something I'd never done, but we have these innate God-given talents sometimes, and that was a door that allowed me to basically to produce and nourish those talents. And I was able to work with these young people, and it changed me.
Okay, all right. Now, when you say graduation coach, I'm a little familiar with the school system. While my children were going to school, I got actively involved, PTA. At one time I held a position called parent coordinator, which was kind of a liaison between the school and the parents. But a graduation coach, that's a unique title, isn't it?
Yes. It was in Georgia, and the governor of Georgia actually came up with this program, the graduation coach, and he placed one or two in all of the high schools, all the cities and towns. And basically the point was teachers are so inundated with, trying to manage the classroom and teach the kids, and the counselors are inundated with, trying to make sure they have the right classes, with just monitoring the day-to-day, that he said, well, let's bring in a third party. And that person would identify at the beginning of the school year all the students who may be at risk of not graduating. And then that became your caseload. And you would work with these young people, work with their parents, the teachers, to foster a safe zone for them. And then you would become their advocate for whatever they needed to help them get through the process of graduating high school.
Okay, that sounds interesting. It's just something I've never really thought about, and I can see how it could be a link, because as you said, counselors do what they do. They do counseling, trying to get the youngsters in school, SATs, ACTs, all the kind of things that counselors do. Teachers, we know, are inundated with just being teachers, and parents sometimes are overwhelmed by the whole scenario. So you're kind of a conduit to bring all these people into the link, and your job is to deal with any problems, any nuances, and that's very interesting. Was this a salary? I assume it's a salary position.
Yes, it was a grant
Great.
that was generated through actually the lottery proceeds of that state. And they created this grant, and it was a pilot, and basically it was very successful because our young people are going through so much. And as an adult, we find it hard to go through life sometimes and not make the best choices. So as young people who don't have the experience we have, it becomes even more difficult, and they kind of display it as negative behavior in school or dropping out of school. So if you have someone that can find out what's going on behind the scenes and help them work through that, it's easier, you know, and then the teachers realize, okay, I have someone to help me as well. So everyone tends to work together for the benefit of that student.
Okay, great, great. Throughout the book, you speak of 6 young people. Can you share with us, you know, just their first names, but their names?
Well, actually, the 6 individuals that I identified in the book, and the names were David, Tandy, Maquita, Angel, Jordan, and Kerry. They're fictitious characters, but based on actual events.
Okay, good.
So, you know, they're FERPA laws, and we can't, you know, dispel their personal information. So, you know, I just took a lot of things that some of the young people in the college dealt with, and then just placed it into these 6 characters.
Okay, great. And that's what when I said that about not last names, because the same thing here. You know, I don't know, but wait a minute, you broadcast my name on your show, and so good. They are fictitious names. So by saying their names, it's not going to cause us or yourself any liability. Now the book is broken down into 4 chapters. Can you give us the 4 chapter titles?
Yes, it's We Meet, and that was my first meeting with these students. And then it's getting to know them, so you get to know their background, what they're going through. You also have access to their records, so you know if they're behind or on track in school. Then it's building relationship, because I think sometimes with all of the things teachers and counselors have to go through, that relationship sometimes is not able to be built. So I get to build a relationship with these students, and then it's growth. And we kind of see how they grow from what they're going through throughout the years, and it's the conclusion. And then you'd have to get the book to see whether they make it or not.
That's right, that's right. It's you know, like any mystery, we don't want to give away the ending, but I know that the relationship part is a very important part. I actually had an interaction with students that I found very personally fulfilling, but at the time very challenging, you know, when I was doing it. I was working with students who had gotten, for lack of a better word, thrown out of mainstream education, and they were dealing with a kind of alternative school. And they came with their own set of problems. So that's the first thing you had to do, was sit down and let them know, I'm not your enemy, you know. I'm not necessarily your friend, but I can be your friend, but I'm here to assist you, and, you know, all those things. So the ones that you're able to identify and build a relationship, you can work closely with. Sometimes there's some that you just can't, you say, well, Tara, you take this one because, you know, he or she relates better to you.
Yes.
You know, so that's an important part. Well, what we'll do now is take a short break, and then we'll continue. As I always do, I encourage you to tell your friends, your neighbors, just to take a look at the show. We will be right back, and maybe there's something that you will find out. Today I found out a great position, and something maybe other school districts might consider, a graduation coach, and that's someone that can assist, and anything we can do to assist our youngsters probably is great. Thank you, and we will see you right back. Hi, Harry Payton, and today's guest is Miss Tara Spades, and she's author of this fine book that you see in front of me. And we've been discussing a lot about what the book is, the graduation coach, and it's the other part of it's graduation coach. Money does not improve schools, people do. And I think that's something that, you know, is always a subject of debate. People talk about the money that's spent in the schools, particularly sometimes the urban schools, but it's a good premise for discussion because I certainly agree with the title that I've seen people make changes, whereas sometimes you can just filter as much money as you want and schools don't make a change. So we've been discussing some of her experiences with a school district in the great state of Georgia, and we'll continue that discussion now. Ms. Bates, can you discuss, we talked about last segment, the 6 students that you talk about, and again for discussion purposes and just so that everyone knows, the 6 students have fictitious names, though they are real students. The names are just being put forth as names of students, but it actually deals with 6 real students whose names we're not going to disclose or talk about. But can you discuss meeting the 6 students?
Yes. As we said in the previous segment, at the beginning of the year, the graduation coaches get a caseload. They get a list of students who are classified as at risk. So these particular students that I kind of identified to write the book based on were students that, were near and dear to my heart. During the course of, the years, they just really grew on me to this day. They're just really special to me. And it was, you have your initial meeting, and then you start to see what they're going through, and just the obstacles that they have to, deal with, and the hurdles they have to jump over in order to make graduation a reality. So in talking to them, it's they grew on.
And that's always, again, as we discussed, that initial relationship, building rapport with each other is always important because it helps break down the barriers, because I can just imagine that many of them have encountered many people for some reason or another that may not have had their best intentions, may not have been a good match, and they come with a little defensiveness about them, like, what do you want? You can't help me. Why are you bothering me again? I'm not going to graduate. My mother wants me here. Just leave me alone, and those kind of defenses. So did you encounter a lot of that?
Yes, I encountered the defenses initially. I encountered the mistrust because they've, been through some heavy situations. And then I encountered the chasing them, running them down, knocking on homes, doors, their doors at home. And I think that also helps because it let them know, okay, she's not going to give up. She's not one that's just talking the talk. She means it. And after a couple of times of being there when they thought I wouldn't, it kind of let them, okay, well, let me give her a chance because she's different than what they've experienced. Not to say no one else could have done it, but they had not experienced it in their lives. And it just helped to foster that relationship.
Right, and again, just going out to the homes, that's a very difficult thing for a lot of people because that's their home, that's their environment, and let's be honest, that's a dangerous situation.
Yes.
You don't know what you're walking into their environment. So again, if you're walking in there, you kind of say, oh, she's tough, she's here with me, like, okay, and again, just from my experience, a lot of the youngsters that some of society consider incorrigible are tough, just tough demeanor. I had one young man that was in the program, and I was trying to assist him with a job, and I tried to explain to him, look, here, let me put this mirror in front of your face. You see how you look? That's an offensive look, because if you're coming in for a job and you look like that, I'm scared of you, because I'm saying, why is he looking at me like that? So you have to learn that in spite of life being tough on you, in spite of life kicking you all over the place, you have to smile and force yourself to smile because you're coming at a position where you need something that they have. Now when you get the job and you want to look mean, they'll go by you, a little bit more by. So that's good to know. Now, how did getting to know each student and their background, life circumstances impact you?
It did because we kind of go through life with a perception, just like you were saying, we see from the outside looking in, and we build this whole scenario based on what we see. Getting to know these young people, it helped me to not look at the outward appearance, not to take something for surface value and then base, my whole decision on who they are on what I see. Because there were so many levels to these young people, and once you knew that, then what you saw was not who they were. and I was happy to be able to see them becoming who they really were, you know, outside of the circumstances. So it changed me. It helped me to see things differently.
Okay, all right, good. And are there any special ways or tools you use to build a meaningful relationship with the students? Because I assume they have a kind of diverse background.
Yes, they were very diverse. But I tell you, with them being diverse, one thing across the board, honesty. When you are true to who you are with them, they recognize that. Now, if you're going to come with a bunch of stuff, they recognize that too.
Yes.
They can see through, you know, talk. And they were able to see, okay, she cares. I held them to a high standard. I told them there are no excuses. We all go through stuff in life. Let's figure out how you go through. And let's figure out how you can get through successfully. So with some of them, I shared some of the things I was going through, so it helped them to see, you know, like you said before, I'm not sitting, you know, on this high perch looking down at them. I made it relatable, and I let them see that, you know what, they can come to me with anything, and there was no judgment.
Okay, great. And like that, honesty. Honesty, you know, I was fortunate, I raised children, and especially when they got to be teenagers, honesty, you know, sometimes parents set a barrier where they're perfect now, you know, seemingly perfect, got a job, they never get in trouble, they do things perfectly, go to church every Sunday, happy relationship, they're so perfect that it's a hard level for an average youngster to live up to, because youngsters are going to make mistakes by the virtue that they're youngsters. So sometimes by breaking down those barriers, say, guess what, you know, I had daughters, and I used to tell them, I said, you think your daddy's so nice. Dad used to tell this girl he loved her, he used to tell that girl he loved her, and didn't love either one of them, you know, but by being honest, wow, okay, you know, dad was honest, he broke it down, and then seeing that other person who comes and says to them, I love you, oh, wait a minute, okay, you know, let me listen to what my dad said. So honesty is a good trait because, again, it gives them something that's sometimes a little different. Not all of us are honest to them. You know, yeah, I was perfect all my life, and I've always been perfect. Yeah, right. Yes. Come on. Now, what were some of the end results? You know, you don't have to divulge the thing because we want people to read the book. We really do. We want, because there's an adventure in the book, there's a story in the book, and you can gain a lot more from the book than you can in the few minutes that we're sitting here. What were some of the end results that you would like to share?
I would say the growth in them was amazing. These were young people who, within themselves and according to some of the educators, were not going to graduate, had already pegged them for dropping out. Some of them had stopped coming to school. So I think in knowing that a lot of them were able to come back to school, work with faculty to do credit recovery and, you know, recover some of those credits, and begin to see themselves as possible high school graduates, began to see themselves as doing something beyond high school. So that result was, it helped me go. It helped me to continue on. It inspired me because, you know, we all get to a point in life where we're kind of like, okay, should I do this? Is this going to work? And to see young people learn that trait in high school, that although things are hard right now, there is a tomorrow. So I think that was good to see with a lot of them, that they realized that there is a tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Great. And as we come to an end, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience? I'm, of course, going to give you an opportunity to tell, you know, how a person can pick up the book and, you know, your telephone numbers. But is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
I would like to share that in working in a high school with quote-unquote at-risk youth, don't give up on them. And let's not say that there's no hope for them, because there's always hope. There's always someone that can reach them. It's just finding that someone. And we at that high school proved it to be so. We not only increased the male math state test scores. Within 2 years, we increased the graduation rate among the black population during those 2 years. So I saw it work. So I know that it can work. In the book, it details some of, as you said, the strategies that we had to put forth, and some of them were out of the box. So just know you have to think outside of the box to reach some of these young people.
Okay. Now, could you share some of the, contact information? Again, this is the fine cover, but if you would, share how a person would pick up the book, if they wanted to contact you, any of that information there?
Yes, as far as the book is concerned, you can purchase the book on Amazon.com. Just put in The Graduation Coach, and it's by Tara Spates. As far as reaching myself, because I do, motivational speaking as well, you can go on Facebook, and it's Facebook.com/counselor15, the number 15. And I also have a blog, Women Motivating Women 14.blogspot.com. And it also, you can send me emails as well, and I will get back to you.
All right, great. And we will have this information displayed for you. I encourage you. I found this to be great reading. It's not War and Peace. It's not a very big book. You can read this book. And the main reason I encourage reading the book, certainly to support a person like Ms. Spates, because it's not easy to engage our youngsters. Anyone that has knows that it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. And if your heart's not in it, it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. Sometimes, if your heart is in it, it's still very difficult. But when you come to the end and you have a good result, you realize that you're saving not just one life, because let's be real, if that person has a child or children, then you're helping those children, because each person is connected to other facets of life. So read the book, see how she was able to connect to these 6 individuals. Maybe it'll assist you in your endeavor to reach someone. And again, if nothing else, it'll be something good that you're doing to support someone that has engaged our youngsters and took the time to help change 6 lives, and I'm sure more, but just the book covers the 6 lives that she talks about. So we encourage it, and I'd like to, as always, thank the Honorable Mayor Tony Voss for giving me this opportunity to bring relevant information such as Ms. Spates' book and her endeavors with working with the youngsters to our audience. We encourage you to continue to watch the show, and you can also deliver subject matters as we go into the new year to me. One of the audience members asked for my telephone number. We will display that number on the screen, 973-580-2496. You can call me and also talk about any of the issues, and we'll leave relevant information and try to relate to the audience also. Thank you, Ms. Spates.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you so much.
yes,
Thank
very
you.
much. And we will see you again. Thank you very much for taking time out your busy schedule to watch the show.